hello to everybody and welcome to the new episode of Keep It Simple podcast. Today with me, Ivan Gazic. What should I say? I discovered Ivan on LinkedIn, so I have to be very frank and very honest. It caught my attention that I don't see a lot of people actually writing or talking about AI and compliance. And I was amazed by seeing that Ivan has on LinkedIn almost daily updates what is going on in the universe of AI. So this is why I've decided to invite Ivan to this podcast because I want us so much to talk about AI, but especially through the lenses of compliance. So Ivan is an expert for AI and compliance. I need to say that with many years of experience in this field, generally in compliance. He was part of Croatian Compliance Association as well. He is also an innovator, let's say, and founder of different companies. But you can get all of those details, of course, online as well. Let's start completely directly. Ivan, welcome. Thank you for joining me. And tell me, are we going to be replaced by artificial intelligence?
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me and for this very great intro about me. Let's go to the question which everyone is asking, not me. I can hear that on the hallways how people are talking. Are we going to be replaced? This is not all of us, to be that's for sure. That's not, or at least not in way it's often presented to us through media or social network or etc. And I strongly doubt that it will ever will be humans will be going to replace fully by the AI, especially in the European Union. The European Union regulatory framework explicitly emphasizes the respect to the fundamental human rights, and they are asking us to have a human in the loop regarding the AI regulation, AI, using AI, whatever. Especially, they say like every industrial revolution before it, it will have significant impact on the on society, including the professionals or practice we do today. Over the past few years, we have already witnessed the significant impact on some industries by AI. Well, customer support is the first one, but also we can see that in the movies, marketing, copywriting, whatever. There is, because we are using these tools, AI tools. It can be general AI tool or general purpose AI, or it is expert AI system that support human work but improving our efficiency and optimizing business processes. Such tools, however, can also lead to the workforce or reduction in certain areas. Despite this, human involvement remained essential. There is and must be a human in the loop, which I will believe, especially in the AI system that's a high risk or even medium risk, I will say. This low risk AI systems, that's something that we can use or already using, and you can see on the website there is chatbots, etc. I don't think that there is no need to be AI human in that, but also someone have to check it out, what's going on and what output this AI is providing. So yes, there will be significant changes, like when the, I don't know, when people invented the trucks and something, but it's not going to replace us all. That's my opinion.
Hmm. So if I am a compliance officer, or even better, if I am, for example, AML officer, because AML is very specific topic, right? I should not be scared that AI is going to replace, for example, my transaction monitoring.
No, especially not AI, because behind the AI tools right now, there are also IML officers. Even regulation is, especially in the financial industries in Europe, saying that their bank, for example, bank or payment institution, electronic money institution, must have appointed dedicated IML officer. So they are not going to, okay, they're not going to need six of them because the new AI tools will probably optimize the process, but they will need you need at least two to have a business contingency. That's the reason. So most of the banks doesn't have a huge teams. Maybe this one huge banks have, I don't know, at least 10 plus, but medium-sized banks in our region and huge banks, their people will not be the people will stay in their offices and their position. AI will not going to they replace them for sure. not right now.
Oh,
I don't know, maybe some robotics in the next 100 years, but that's too far for us.
okay, that's good to know. That's reassuring because, as you said, it's a story going around the hallways, and everybody's interested in this. But just to step back, also to get to know a bit more about you as a founder and compliance officer. What inspired you to go in the direction of AI and compliance, connecting these topics both together?
Well, I start working, not first I start working in the bank, but not as a compliance officer. I start working in the card department based on my IT degree. And during that
Mm-hmm.
time, I was part the colleague who worked in IML. She needed a replacement. She asked me, "Would you be my replacement?" So I start working in the card department and in the IML department. And based on that, then that's how I start working with anti-money laundering. And after 2 years, I moved from a few credit institutions to the fintech, where I work 3 years. I am a compliance officer, and then I back to the and of course to the bank. And in that period, I invest lots of in me, my knowledge about understanding the compliance. I published numerous articles focused on regulatory understanding and practical implementation of the compliance. Now, when we're talking about AI compliance, this is a new regulation that is also, when I read it when it because before it came to the force, I realized that this is the AI is something that's really interesting me, and I want to know how it works. But also from my professional view, I know that this will need to be implemented. I don't know if I'm lucky or I didn't have. I was not so. I didn't have so much luck, but I was working in the implementation and the licensing of process for the payment institution, e-money institution, and some license in the banking. So I know how the government should be described, implemented for every process. This one AI, we can say it's just another topic, another process that we're going to have it, and we need to embrace it so that I know how it should and understand the regulation, what the regulation asking for us. And that's why I think this is that's really interesting for me, because from one side I really like to use AI, and I'm using it for from coding, for editing pictures, just for fun, but developing some apps that I'm using right now, creating also for AI purpose. Uh, that's why interesting me, and that's why regulation also is very important, and it's also have some kind of vibe on me, positive vibe on me, to understand how to implement all these features, all these steps, what regulator is going to watch, and what we need to have based on the regulation, and especially in the institutions like credit institutions, or it's irrelevant. It can be small or the medium company, but all these steps have to be fulfilled. And when you have experience on implementing or the licensing process for one side, and you love the technology, it's just confusion, and that's something what I like, and that this is what I am now. And AI
Mm,
governance is one of those topics. And also, when you have so much regulation, when you're working in compliance for I don't know 10 years plus, then you realize that compliance is a very huge area, especially in the financial institutions. And then you just one day want to just to go and narrow the things what are you doing, and be expert just in one field. And so from our experience until today, it has been shown that very few innovations succeed without proper supervision or oversight, or without oversight. In most cases, the highest price always pays a human or the people. AI offers significant benefits, business, especially from the business point of view, but when it's developed or deployed without proper control, AI governments, it can become a serious source of risk for including operational, legal, reputational risk. AI system, we all know the AI system learn from the various sources information, and it can generate decisions based on this information that he has been gathered from the various sources. So in sensitive domains such as creditworthiness assessment, requirement, healthcare, security, indeed, based on the individuals, may be rejected, disadvantaged based on results of the AI-driven decisions. Such outcomes can have a profound impact on person's life, and in the European context, this is also a violation of the AI Act. AI system, as I mentioned, learn from a wide range of data sources, and using this data, and if AI make one decision wrongly, it can spread very fast on the various industries because they're learning one from each other. Depends what kind of AI system are you using now. This, without a clearly defined AI governance framework, accountability become diffuse or non-existent. So when an incident occur or can harm people, organizations often are unable to determine who is responsible, who tests the system. So without this proper AI governance framework in the company, who are responsibilities? Who did the controls was properly managed? Did someone check everything that should be checked? And how the in this situation, it's very hard to establish how the failure occurred with the AI system itself. So, from my point of view, also uncontrolled innovations ultimately leads to the loss of trust among clients. But not only that, it can also be risk like a reputational risk we already mentioned, and financial losses, fines from a regulator, and plus regulator doesn't want to have in the market something that is not reliable and something that cannot help to for the people. It's not useful to AI tool. So they're probably going to be moved from the market. Regulator doesn't want things like that happen, especially in European Union. We are very strict about various things, even the AI.
But still, I would say that many companies see specifically AI compliance as yet another cost. What would you say that there for such companies?
They're not or every there they in every compliance function is a cost, not only in AI compliance, but accounting and other governance functions as well are cost. If we look like that, I often say that compliance is considered expensive only until the organization is fined by the regulator. At that point, everyone suddenly turns to the compliance in search for solution, asking why it is not implemented earlier and why is warnings were not taken seriously. From my personal experience, I can say that by then it is often already too late to establish too late to ask us what's going to happen. But it's not too late to establish new processes and prevent future damages, fines from regulator, for example. Organization that have a look on compliance is as an unnecessary expense are taking fundamentally flawed approach. They're not serious on the market, especially in the European Union. For example, we had discussion a few days ago, when in the I don't know 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even more, companies didn't know what to do with the compliance or audit. But now this is a crucial function. They are second and the third line of defense. So if companies seeing compliance as a cost, they should really consider what are they doing, and they should go to training to understand what happened to the companies who have been fined. Company when is fined, I know that on the market you can see on the listing jobs that they have, it's they're hiring I don't know bunch of compliance officers just but it's too late. You have to pay for nothing because you didn't want to pay 2 additional employees. In senses, I always saying that compliance is the organization's silent guardian. He's not here to make you money. Compliance is here to save you money. That's why I call him a silent guardian. You're not going to. You've been working the bank. You went on the end of the year. Applause go to the guys who's the partners or the branches that sell the most of products or services. They're not going to say, okay, thanks to the compliance, we didn't pay any fines this year. But on the from daily experience and on the daily duties that we have, we both know that there every day we prevent a bunch of fines because people are not aware. They want to go the easiest way. They just want to finish something as up as they can, and that can cause damage to the reputational, financials, from the I don't know. We don't have to talk about regulatory fines. We can talk about that's something that will cost us in the process. Hiring additional people that we don't need, buying some additional tools that have not been licensed or cannot be externalized in European Union, for example. I had an experience in the previous company. They want to hire a company that comes from the I don't know Middle East. In the point when there was a war and this company, this country is on the blacklist, forbidden list by
Mhm.
FATF. And then you told them, hey guys,
Yeah.
you already paid something, you cannot conclude the agreement. But we already paid something. Consultants say, yeah, but they're on the regulatory not going to accept this. So that's I will repeat one more time, and this is my favorite quote: "The compliance here is organization side guardian." That's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've heard also when I was starting my job in compliance that compliance is like a consciousness of the organization, right? So you have the doers, you have business and everything, but you need to have also like a back mind saying, look, maybe you should steer right or left. But beyond this, of course, formal obligations that we need to fulfill and be compliant with regulations, there's also a huge discourse already for AI and its ethicality, right? How would you translate AI ethics into like day-to-day practice? What would you recommend to some business owner or somebody? Yeah, I want innovation, I want AI, but I really also want to be ethical. I don't want to misuse people's data. I don't want to uh, do stuff that are completely unethical just to earn some money, just to do it quickly, which is, I think, at this moment in time, quite a big danger because everybody wants to be a first mover with AI, with different types of AI help, AI products, whatever not. So, what would you say? How to remain ethical in a real time?
So ethical is the first for me. It's you have awareness about something, how what damage you can cause with your product. Talking about AI ethic is not too philosophical if we understand the ethic as a practical government question. It's not a more abstraction. In companies, AI ethics become real the moment is in translated to how decisions are designed, tested, documented, and overseen. This is the first step for ethics in the company, even for the AI. It's really hard. The most important question is to prove to regulator the ethicness of the ethics of AI system, how this AI system works, how is he ethics and what level. This is very hard to describe to regulator, because AI is practically the black box. We don't know how, like we don't know how our brain works. We know something, that also we know how the AI works, not all of it. But that's in practice. This means they're asking very concrete questions. Who is accountable for this AI system? What risk does it create for the people? How do we know that it does not systematically disadvantage to certain groups? Can it outcomes be explained, challenged, or corrected? These are the ethical database in the abstract. They are operational legal questions that companies must answer if they want to deploy AI responsibility and increasingly lawfully. This is also logic behind the AI Act and modern AI governance framework. Ethical principles such as fairness, transparency, or human oversight are no longer treated as voluntary values, but is also an expectation that must be demonstrated to the risk assessment, technical decisions must be demonstrated to the risk assessment, to the regulator testing and ongoing monitoring. They also ask life cycle monitoring. In other words, ethics is translated into evidence, processes, controls, documentation, accountability, the mechanism that can be audited. So it all starts from this one, from my point. So AI ethics is in companies is not
Yeah.
about claiming that AI system is good or fair in moral sense. It's about being able to show, to demonstrate, in a structured way that risk to individuals and society have been identified, mitigated, and kept without acceptable limits for human beings. When ethics is understood in this way, it becomes not only practical but essential for society, for a great AI deployment and a great AI system.
Understood. And it makes really sense. I really hope that also people who look at this podcast and listen to us get some really good practical tips how to actually test this very. Sometimes it's a bit foggy to people when you say to them, well, this is also supposed to be ethical, but it's not that hard if you think about it. And it's always because a human is in the background of everything, right? But I also always do claim if you don't hire proper people who are ethical, then you will never also get ethical products afterwards. So there's a
Yeah,
whole
that
chain, and that's the topic. Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes
But
hand in
you
hand.
also,
You know, we have to have
yeah,
ethical people on in the bench, so that so that they know how to establish this. If you don't have ethical people or there, but it's ethical is something what is very it's very abstract, not tangible like we think so. But as I said, it depends. For me, something ethical for someone is not that. That's not ethical. Depends which kind of point you are looking for. But we have to find ourselves in the middle, check the regulation, and then start building the ethical things. You know, the most thing important is also to be. I don't know. Maybe we should go from ourselves. So I don't want someone to do something to me, so I have to act like this to him. Then that's maybe the step -1, you know, and then zero. We
yeah.
have the ethical team. One step. The first step will be then the documentation, proving, and transparency, fairness, etc.
Understood. And you already tackled this a bit previously. And there is something that we can actually catch on to, and this is regulatory work. So I would be interested, how do you see regulators across the world now working on AI regulation? And also when it comes to EU, what do you think would be the mistakes that we have made in implementation of EU AI Act? Generally speaking, what would be the weak points here from a regulatory point of view?
Um, okay. In my view, I'm in the European Union, so for as far as I know, the European act very fast, efficiently and timely manner by adopting this AI Act. While the regulatory framework is not perfect, and it's not perfect, we are aware, and it still contains a number of open questions and areas from experts from various end industries. But I think the European did what is the fundamental goal of European Union. We are on that path. So, path we know what are we doing, and I think this is European. Yes, it's not perfect, but we are going in this way that we are planning to do. USA started the similar way, practically the same as the European Union. Let's protect the humans first, and then let's make the business humans first. USA was on in our we were going hand in hand together, but new administration changed that. Let's the business be first, and then we will see what happened. They have some setups. It's not even mandatory. It's voluntary. Various industries, and they're forcing the business. It's USA. That's their way. We cannot do anything about it. I'm very sorry, but this current administration decides to go by that way. Canada, on the other hand, is also moving in the right direction as Australia. They're also having the European practice. There will also be a mandatory some things not. But China represents a distinct regulatory model with their own rules. Then I can say that all these countries, we are seeing a fragmented global landscape with different regulatory frameworks emerging across various jurisdictions, and this divergence is likely to continue. Ultimately, however, what matters most is that AI innovations and in deployment guided by principles that ensure the protection of individuals and their fundamental human rights. So, to say for conclusion about this first part of your question, I say that globally, the regulators have response very fast. It's not perfect, but as everything, every act will be updated through the time. And some questions that we are still doesn't know how to do it or how it should be precisely do it, we will get to probably the guidance. We can compare this to the GDPR. When the GDPR came into the force,
Yes.
everyone was confused. People didn't understand what is consent, but they come to guidelines. So where the European Union describe how to what is the consent, it will be similar way with this Act. We can European Union announcing that will become guidelines, etc., etc. So also in the global level, for example, I don't know what will be with USA, but Canada will probably have the same going with the same direction as I mentioned as us. It things will be very similar, and that in this short period, what we have AI and how fast is it moving, we have something. It's not perfect, but it's okay, you know. But the biggest mistake with the AI Act implementation, you know, the biggest mistake is in implementing the AI Act is not come from the misunderstanding the act, but from misunderstanding the what act is trying to achieve. One major risk is treating that act as a purely legal or compliance exercise. Something is to be handled by lawyers at the very end of the deployment processes. If an organization approach it is a box ticking regulation, they will likely produce formal documentation without actually reducing the real risk. It's just a checkbox, you know. The act is built around the risk-based and the life cycle approach, which means governments, technical teams, and business owners must be involved from the start, not just from the deployment of the AI system, you know. Another common mistake will be focusing narrowly on classification, debating endless what is the system is a high risk or not high risk, instead of investing in effort in understanding actual impacts of the people and fundamental rights of this AI system. The regulation is not designed to reward clever categorization strategy, but also ensure that to ensure how harms identify and mitigate in the practice. That's the goal of the AI Act, you know. Further risk is understanding the organization change required. The AI Act assumes clear accountability, traceability, ongoing oversight, human in the loops, etc. Companies that try to bolt on AI governance without adopting internal decision making, ownership, structure, and escalation process will struggle for sure for the time, even if their technical systems are strong and excellent, even that. But for other purposes, you will see that they have from the regulatory point, they're struggling because if you put AI system, it's not just AI right now, it's also a regulatory part, you know, and then when you have combined everything, then you can say it's okay. So finally, there is danger in seeing the AI as an obstacle to innovation rather than a framework for sustainable deployment. Over compliance, what they're saying, fair-driven restrictions or blankets bans on AI use can be just for harmful and as under compliance. That's my opinion. The intent of this act is not to stop AI, but to ensure that innovation happens in a way that is trustworthy, explains, and social acceptable AI system.
I would agree there, and I think that there's a element of long-term consideration on the side of European Union, because yes, we want innovation, but we want it to be successful and to be healthy. Nobody wants corrosive capital because of some failed AI companies or failed AI startups or disrupting the market like this. So having some legal framework for this and regulatory guidelines is something that is welcome, but it's about the way how we look into things and the approach that we take. Speaking of long term, what I've observed as also as a final touch point in next 3 to 5 years, what do you see as the biggest challenges for AI compliance officers maybe even for all of us who are compliance officers in general?
Okay, just to add one more thing to the previous question. In short, the biggest
Sure.
implementation failure for will be coming from the reducing the act to the paperwork, ignoring the human-centric logic and failing to integrate into the how organization actually design, deploy, and govern AI system. That will be the biggest failure. So what we can expect in the next 3 to 5 years, looking ahead over the next 3 or 5 years, the biggest challenge for AI and the compliance will be keeping governance aligned with how the AI actually evolves in practice. For sure, we witnessed, you and me witnessed when the internet came out in 2000, and I was mentioning in 2000 to 2024, for example, that period we get all these magnificent things, internet, I don't know, whatever, mobile telephones. We can now talk with our family members in Canada, like you and me right now, and a bunch of other things that we are using. Google Maps, for example, you cannot get anymore get lost, you
Yeah.
know. But we get a bunch of in these 25 years, we get a bunch of useful things for us. But in these 4 or 5 years of AI that we are using, less, I have we seen that the AI is exploding. So regulation, including the AI Act, is built on a relatively stable concept: risk categories, accountability, life cycles control, AI development. However, AI is becoming more dynamic, modular, and decentralized, with generic purpose models, downstream fine tuning, rapid deployment cycles, and blurred lines between the providers and deployers. One of the hardest compliance problems will be maintaining clear responsibility and traceability across the value chain of system continuously changing after deployment. You can put one AI and he's learning from himself. He's learning from his users. You know, it's very hard to check all that. Another major challenge will be moving from formal compliance to substantive compliance. Over time, regulations will expect not just documentation but evidence, risk management works the harms are detected early, mitigation measures, how mitigation measures are effective, and that organization can explain real world outcomes in the future. You know, what if predict what if happened this or that, not just a model design choice. That will be put pressure on companies and also to invest in monitoring, auditing, organizational maturity, not just legal interpretations. You know, there's also growing tension between global AI development and fragmented regulatory expectations that we saw mentioned in the previous question. USA is going on another direction. Companies operating across jurisdictions will be need to change their standards for transparency, safety, accountability, while still maintaining coherent internal governance. You know, that will also be a huge challenge for them. And when you work in that company, is also this huge challenge for compliance. Ensure the next phase of AI compliance will be less about learning new rules and more about building durable government system that can keep pace with the continuous technological changes of AI system, all improvements of AI systems. You know.
So building is ahead of us, right? We have to prepare for building a robust governance system which will support this entire development story for the future.
Yeah, building, improving, learning, teaching, sharing knowledge, raising awareness. One of the most
Exactly.
important and most hardest thing in the compliance is awareness. You know, nothing can help other
Yeah.
to your colleague if he's not aware of the risks and consequences if he's not fully compliant. It's very hard to be fully compliant, but if you com- comply enough and you are showing some efforts, I know for sure from experience that the regulator will understand that, and there will be no fines, only more some kind of recommendation. That is also good because they show you what your weaknesses and you can improve it.
I agree with you fully on that, and I think that learning is something that it's just never stopping, and especially in compliance area, and especially in our field. This conversation for me was also learning opportunity, so thank you for that. Thank you very much, Ivan, for devoting your time for participating in Keep It Simple podcast. And yeah, let's get prepared for AI present and future, whatever is coming. Thank you once again
Yeah.
for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. I'm really glad that you choose me for one of your topics, and it was my fully pleasure. And whenever you need, you can call me. We can discuss without the podcast also.
Thank you very much. It will be my pleasure, and also to see you in any other format. Thank you.